I lost the love of my life because I slept with my best friends, and 4 years later, the truth came out, shattering everything I built. Friendship, honesty, and trust collided, and I had to choose between my past and my future, only to realize some choices can't be undone. I told my boyfriend I'd slept with both of my best friends before we met, and now he's saying he needs time to think about our relationship. Wait. Both of them? Jake and Marcus? We were lying in bed. 4 years into our relationship. Talking about past relationships like couples do. I thought we were being open. Honest. Building intimacy through vulnerability. I was wrong. Yeah. Different times. Years ago. Before you and me. It's not a big deal. Ryan sat up. Stared at me. You slept with both of your best friends. The guys you hang out with constantly. The guys who are at our apartment every week. Those best friends. Yes. But it was years ago. We're just friends now. It doesn't mean anything. How am I supposed to believe that? You're telling me you've had making love with both of the guys you spend the most time with outside of me. And I'm just supposed to be okay with that? You knew I had a past. We've talked about this. We've talked about you having exes. Not about you having regular, ongoing friendships with people you've been intimate with. That's different. How is it different? They're my friends. What we did years ago doesn't change that. It changes everything. Every time you hang out with them, I'm going to be thinking about it. Every time they're here, I'm going to wonder if you're thinking about it. Every time you text them, I'm going to question what's really being said. That's your insecurity. Not my problem. Wrong thing to say. Ryan's face hardened. My insecurity? You're best friends with two guys you very bad, and you think me being uncomfortable is insecurity? Yes. Because it was in the past. It doesn't affect us. It affects me. It affects how I see you. It affects how I see them. It affects everything. He got out of bed. Started getting dressed. Where are you going? My brother's place. I need space. I need to think about whether I can handle this. Handle what? Me having a past? Handle you maintaining intimate friendships with people you've been intimate with. There's a difference between having a past and actively keeping your past in your present. He left. I sat there confused. This felt like an overreaction. I'd been honest. Transparent. What more did he want? Let me back up. Let me tell you about Jake, Marcus, and me. I've known Jake since college. We met freshman year. Became close friends immediately. Studied together. Partied together. He was like a brother. Until sophomore year when we hooked up at a party. Tipsy. Impulsive. It just happened. We tried dating after that. Lasted 3 months. Realized we were better as friends. Broke up amicably. Stayed close. No drama. No lingering feelings. Just friendship. Marcus I met through Jake. They'd been roommates. The three of us became inseparable. Movie nights. Road trips. Everything together. Junior year, Marcus and I started hooking up. Casual. Friends with benefits. Both of us were clear it wasn't going anywhere. Just physical. Convenient. That lasted about 6 months. Then we both started dating other people. Stopped the hookups. Stayed friends. Again, no drama. No complications. Jake and Marcus knew about each other. Knew I'd been with both of them. They were fine with it. We all moved past it. Became the kind of tight-knit friend group that doesn't let past hookups complicate things. After college, we all moved to the same city. Different apartments but same neighborhood. We'd hang out multiple times a week. Game nights. Dinners. Spontaneous hangouts. They were my people. Then I met Ryan. Through work. We clicked immediately. Started dating. Got serious fast. I told Ryan I had close guy friends. Told him Jake and Marcus were important to me. He seemed fine with it. Met them early on. They all got along. No issues. Ryan would join our hangouts. Became part of the group. Everything was good. For 4 years, everything was good. I never explicitly told Ryan I'd slept with Jake and Marcus. It never came up. He never asked. I didn't think to mention it because it felt irrelevant. That was ancient history. We were just friends now. Until last night. Until Ryan asked about my past relationships. Until I casually mentioned that, yeah, I'd dated Jake briefly and had a thing with Marcus. And now Ryan was at his brother's place thinking about whether he could handle being with me. I called my best friend Sarah. Told her everything. Did you really not tell Ryan about Jake and Marcus? No. Why would I? It was years ago. Because they're still in your life. That's not like mentioning an ex from high school who lives across the country. These are people he sees regularly. So what? Should I have just never told him? Let him think I had no history with them? No, you should have told him early on. Before he got comfortable with them. Before he invested in this friend group dynamic. It didn't seem important. It's clearly important to him. And honestly, I get it. I'd be uncomfortable too if my boyfriend was best friends with women he'd slept with. That's different. How? I don't know. It just is. We're adults. We can handle mature friendships with people we have history with. Can you though? Or have you just been telling yourself that while Ryan's been in the dark? I didn't have a good answer. Ryan didn't come home that night. Or the next night. Just texted saying he needed space. That he'd reach out when he was ready to talk. Day 3, Jake called. Ryan texted me. Asked me point blank if we'd slept together. What's going on? I told him. About you and Marcus. He's freaking out. Very bad. Why didn't you tell him before? It didn't seem relevant. You and I are just friends. Yeah, but he didn't know that. He thought we were just friends. Finding out there's history changes things. Why? Why does it change things? We're not interested in each other. We're just friends. That should be enough. It should be. But it's not always. Some people can't separate past from present. Ryan's clearly one of those people. What did you tell him when he asked? The truth. That we hooked up in college. That we tried dating. That it didn't work out. That we've been just friends ever since. I tried to reassure him, but I don't think it helped. Did Marcus tell him the same thing? Yeah. Marcus talked to him too. We both tried to make it clear that there's nothing between us and you now. That it's ancient history. But I don't think Ryan believes it. Why wouldn't he believe it? Because we're still here. Still in your life. Still close. From his perspective, he's been sharing you with 2 guys who've had you in ways he thought were exclusive to him. That's hard to process. But you haven't had me in years. We're just friends. To us, yeah. But to him, we're guys who know what you look like uncovered. Who've been intimate with you. Who still get your time and attention and affection. He's probably been building a narrative in his head about what that means. A narrative that's wrong. Maybe. But it's his narrative. And you didn't give him the information to build an accurate one. You let him assume we were always just friends. Now he's finding out we weren't. That changes the story. I hung up feeling worse. Jake was right. I'd let Ryan build an understanding of our friendship based on incomplete information. And now that understanding was shattered. Day 5, Ryan came home. We sat in the living room. Miles of distance between us despite being on the same couch. I've been thinking, he started. About us. About them. About what this means. Okay. I can't do this. I can't be with someone who maintains close friendships with people they've been intimate with. That's a boundary for me. That's not fair. I can't just cut off my best friends because we have history. I'm not asking you to cut them off. I'm saying I can't be with someone who won't. Those are different things. So you're breaking up with me? After 4 years? Because of something that happened before we even met? I'm breaking up with you because you kept something major from me. Because you let me build a friendship with guys who slept with you without telling me. Because every game night, every dinner, every hangout has been a lie. It wasn't a lie. We are friends. The making love was years ago. But it happened. And you didn't tell me. And now I can't unsee it. Every time Jake makes you laugh, I'm going to wonder if you remember what it was like with him. Every time Marcus touches your shoulder, I'm going to question if there's more to it. That's your insecurity. Stop calling it insecurity. It's a reasonable boundary. Most people wouldn't be okay with their partner being best friends with people they very bad. That's not insecurity, that's just normal human jealousy. I'm not going to cut them out of my life. I'm not asking you to. I'm just saying I can't be with you if you won't. You get to make your choice. Keep your friends or keep me. That's not fair. Life's not fair. You should have told me from the beginning. You should have let me make an informed decision about whether I could handle this dynamic. Instead, you hid it for 4 years and now I feel like an idiot. I didn't hide it. It just never came up. Because you made sure it didn't come up. You avoided the conversation. You let me believe something that wasn't true. We went in circles. Same argument. Same positions. Neither of us budging. Finally, Ryan said, I can't do this anymore. I need to know. Right now. Are you willing to distance yourself from Jake and Marcus? Not cut them off completely. Just create space. See them less. Keep it casual instead of an intimate friendship. No. They're my best friends. I won't sacrifice my friendships for your discomfort. Then we're done. I can't be in a relationship where I'm competing with your past. Where I'm constantly wondering if you're thinking about them when you're with me. I deserve better than that. I'm not thinking about them. I'm with you. I chose you. You chose me without telling me the full truth. That's not the same as choosing me with full transparency. If I'd known from the beginning, I might not have gotten this deep. Now I'm 4 years in and finding out the foundation was built on omission. Omission isn't lying. It's close enough. He started packing. I watched. Numb. This couldn't be happening. We were solid. 4 years. Plans for the future. Talks of marriage. And it was ending because I'd slept with my best friends before we met. This is insane, I said. You're throwing away 4 years because of who I slept with before you? I'm ending a relationship because you weren't honest. Because you let me build a life with you based on incomplete information. Because you prioritized your comfort over my right to know. I didn't think it mattered. That's not your call to make. You don't get to decide what matters to me. You should have told me and let me decide if I could handle it. Would you have stayed? If I told you on the first date that my best friends were guys I'd slept with? Ryan stopped packing. Looked at me. Honestly? Probably not. Which is exactly why you didn't tell me. You knew it would be a deal breaker. So you hid it. And now you're mad that I'm breaking the deal. He was right. I had known. Deep down, I'd known that telling Ryan about Jake and Marcus would complicate things. So I'd avoided it. Told myself it was irrelevant. Ancient history. Didn't need to be discussed. But it wasn't irrelevant. It was central to understanding our dynamic. And I'd hidden it because I wanted to keep both, my boyfriend and my best friends. Now I was losing one. Maybe both. Ryan left that night. Took enough clothes for a week. Said he'd come back for the rest later. Said we needed to figure out logistics. Apartment. Shared stuff. Separation. After 4 years, we were separating. Because I'd slept with my friends. Because I hadn't told him. Because he couldn't handle knowing. I called Jake. Told him what happened. I'm sorry. This is partially my fault. How is it your fault? I should have told you to tell him. When you first started dating Ryan. I should have said, hey, you should probably mention we have history. But I didn't want it to be weird. Didn't want to make your relationship about me. So I stayed quiet. And now it's blown up. It's not your fault. It's mine. I should have told him. Yeah. You should have. But I get why you didn't. It's awkward. Uncomfortable. Feels like ancient history that shouldn't matter. But it does matter. To him. And that's valid. So what do I do? I don't know. Choose. Either Ryan or us. He's made his boundary clear. You have to decide if you can live with it. I hung up. Sat with that choice. Ryan or my friends. My relationship or my history. The choice felt impossible. Ryan was my partner. My future. The person I'd built a life with for 4 years. But Jake and Marcus were my foundation. My support system. The people who'd been there before Ryan and would be there after. Except maybe they wouldn't be there after. Maybe this would ruin everything. Maybe losing Ryan would danger my friendships too. I called Marcus. Got his perspective. Look, I love you. You're one of my best friends. But Ryan's reaction is pretty normal. Most people wouldn't be cool with what we have. What do we have? We're just friends. Now, yeah. But we weren't always just friends. And that history doesn't disappear just because we want it to. Ryan's been hanging out with us for 4 years not knowing that we've seen you uncovered. That we've been intimate with you. Finding that out retroactively is jarring. So you're saying I should choose him? Cut you guys off? I'm saying you should have told him from the beginning. Given him the choice. Now you're in this mess because you tried to have both without being honest about what both meant. I wasn't dishonest. I just didn't volunteer information. That's semantic. You knew it mattered. You knew it would affect how he saw our friendship. You chose not to tell him. That's a form of dishonesty. Everyone was saying the same thing. That I should have told Ryan. That withholding information was lying by omission. That his reaction was reasonable. But it didn't feel reasonable. It felt like he was punishing me for having a past. For maintaining friendships that predated him. For not letting jealousy dictate my relationships. I posted about it online. Needed outside perspective. Got hundreds of responses. Half, your boyfriend is insecure and controlling. You have every right to be friends with whoever you want. He needs to grow up. Other half, you absolutely should have told him. Being best friends with people you've slept with while in a relationship is a huge boundary issue for most people. He deserved to know. The comments devolved into arguments about boundaries versus trust. About whether past private history with current friends was relevant information. About whether I was wrong for keeping it private or Ryan was wrong for not being able to handle it. No consensus. Just more confusion. A week after Ryan moved out, Jake and Marcus came over. Intervention style. We need to talk about this, Jake said. About what? About the fact that our friendship might have cost you your relationship. And what that means going forward. It's not your fault. It's Ryan's insecurity. Marcus shook his head. Stop saying that. It's not insecurity. It's a boundary. And it's a boundary a lot of people have. You just didn't want to acknowledge it. So you're taking his side? We're taking reality's side. The reality is most people don't want their partner to be best friends with people they've had making love with. That's not unreasonable. It's actually pretty standard. But we're just friends now. We are, Jake agreed. But we weren't always. And that history exists whether we acknowledge it or not. Ryan finding out about it after 4 years feels like betrayal to him. Like you hid something important. I didn't hide it. I just didn't tell him. Again, semantic. You knew it mattered. You chose not to share it. That's hiding. So what am I supposed to do? Choose between you and him? They looked at each other. Some unspoken communication passing between them. Maybe, Marcus said. Maybe that's exactly what you need to do. Because trying to have both without being honest clearly doesn't work. I'm not cutting you guys off. You're my best friends. And Ryan was your partner. Your future. You willing to lose that to keep us? Was I? That was the question. Was I willing to sacrifice my romantic relationship to maintain friendships with people I'd slept with years ago? When I framed it that way, it sounded insane. Of course I should choose Ryan. Of course I should prioritize my partner over friends I'd hooked up with in college. But it didn't feel that simple. Because Jake and Marcus weren't just hookups from my past. They were my people. My support system. The constants in my life while romantic relationships came and went. Except Ryan wasn't supposed to come and go. Ryan was supposed to be permanent. And I jeopardized that by not being honest. I don't know, I admitted. I don't know what to choose. Then maybe you need to figure out what you actually want, Jake said. Not what you think you should want. Not what's politically correct. What you actually want. And then be honest about it. They left. I sat there trying to figure out what I actually wanted. I wanted Ryan. I wanted my relationship. The stability. The future we'd planned. But I also wanted Jake and Marcus. The history. The comfort. The friendship that didn't require performance or pretense. I wanted both. But apparently I couldn't have both. Not without honesty I hadn't provided. 2 weeks after Ryan left, he called. We should talk. In person. We met at a coffee shop. Neutral territory. He looked tired. Like he hadn't been sleeping either. I've been thinking about this nonstop, he started. About us. About what happened. About what it means. And I still can't get past it. Every time I think about you with them, I feel sick. Every time I imagine you hanging out with them now, I wonder what you're thinking about. Whether you're remembering. Whether some part of you still sees them that way. I don't. I swear. They're just friends. But they weren't always just friends. And that history is still there. Still part of how you relate to each other. And I can't be okay with that. I've tried. I've really tried to talk myself into being the cool, secure boyfriend who doesn't care about the past. But I do care. It matters to me. So this is really over? 4 years gone because I had making love with my friends before I met you? 4 years gone because you weren't honest about having making love with your friends before you met me. There's a difference. If you told me early on, I could have made a decision. Could have walked away before I was this invested. Or maybe I would have stayed and worked through it. But you didn't give me that choice. You made the choice for me by withholding information. He was right. I'd made the choice for him. Decided that my past with Jake and Marcus didn't need to be disclosed. That it was irrelevant. That what he didn't know wouldn't upset him. But it did upset him. Finding out 4 years and upset worse than finding out on date 1 would have. I'm sorry, I said. You're right. I should have told you. I was wrong to keep it from you. I appreciate that. But it doesn't change how I feel. I can't be with you knowing that your closest male friends are people you've been intimate with. That's a boundary I can't cross. Even if I promise there's nothing between us now? How can you promise that? You spend hours with them. You text them constantly. You share things with them you don't share with me. How is that nothing? Because it's not romantic. It's not private. It's just friendship. Friendship built on a foundation that includes private history. That's different than regular friendship. And I can't pretend it's not. We sat in silence. The finality settling in. So what now? I asked. Now we figure out how to separate our lives. The apartment. The stuff. The mutual friends. All the logistics of ending a 4-year relationship. Just like that? No trying to work through it? No couples counseling? What would counseling do? The issue isn't communication. The issue is that you maintain intimate friendships with people you've had making love with, and I can't handle that. A counselor can't make me okay with something I'm fundamentally not okay with. He was right again. This wasn't fixable. We wanted incompatible things. I wanted to keep my friendships as they were. He wanted me to distance myself from them. One of us had to compromise. Neither of us was willing to. We split up that day. Officially. 4 years ended over coffee and uncomfortable silence. I moved out of our apartment. Couldn't afford it alone. Moved into a smaller place across town. Started over. Jake and Marcus helped me move. Tried to be supportive. But there was awkwardness now. Awareness that their presence in my life had cost me my relationship. Are you okay? Marcus asked while unpacking boxes. Not really. But I will be. Eventually. I'm sorry. I know we said it's not our fault. But it still feels like it is. It's not. It's mine. I made choices. I'm dealing with consequences. Do you regret it? Choosing us over him? Did I? I'd chosen to maintain my friendships over my relationship. Was that the right choice? I don't know. Ask me in a year. 6 months later, I'm still single. Tried dating. Can't connect with anyone. Keep comparing them to Ryan. Ryan's dating someone new. Saw it on social media. She's pretty. Looks happy. Probably hasn't slept with any of her close friends. Good for him. He deserves someone whose past doesn't complicate his present. Jake and Marcus and I are still close. Still hang out regularly. The awkwardness has faded. We're back to normal. Whatever normal is. But sometimes I wonder, what if I told Ryan from the beginning? What if I'd been honest about my history with Jake and Marcus? Would we have lasted? Would he have been able to handle it knowing from day one? Or would it have ended before it really began? Would he have walked away, unwilling to invest in someone with that kind of friendship dynamic? I'll never know. Because I made the choice for him. Decided he didn't need to know. Protected my friendships at the expense of honesty. And I lost him because of it. I've slept with both of my best friends, and my boyfriend couldn't handle it. What started as honest choices turned into the end of my relationship. Everyone has opinions on who was right. Some say Ryan was insecure and controlling. Some say I should have been honest from the start. Some say maintaining close friendships with past private partners is inappropriate. Some say it's perfectly fine as long as boundaries are clear. I've heard all the arguments. Considered all the perspectives. And I still don't know who was right. Maybe we both were. Maybe Ryan had every right to his boundary and I had every right to my friendships. Maybe we just weren't compatible. Maybe that's all this was. Or maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have told him. Maybe I should have prioritized transparency over comfort. Maybe I should have let him make an informed choice instead of making it for him. I think about that a lot. About the moment I could have told him. About how different things might have been if I'd just been honest. But I can't go back. Can't undo the choices I made. Can only live with the consequences. I chose my friends over my boyfriend. Not explicitly. Not intentionally. But through omission. Through withholding information. Through letting him build a relationship with me based on incomplete truth. And I lost him because of it. Was it worth it? Keeping Jake and Marcus in my life at the cost of my relationship with Ryan? Some days I think yes. They're my people. My foundation. Worth preserving. Other days I think no. I lost someone who loved me. Who wanted a future with me. Who would have been there for life if I'd just been honest. Most days I just don't know. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe there's no right choice when you're trying to balance past and present. Past intimacy and current friendship. Honesty and privacy. Maybe I was always going to lose something. Either my friends or my relationship. Either my history or my future. I chose my history. And my future walked away. That's my consequence. For sleeping with my friends. For not telling Ryan. For thinking I could have both without being fully honest. I live with it. Every day. The knowledge that I made a choice and it cost me someone I loved. And I still don't know if I'd choose differently. Because Jake and Marcus are still here. Still my friends. Still supporting me. And Ryan is gone. Building a life with someone else. Someone who probably doesn't complicate his present with her past. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe we weren't compatible anyway. Or maybe I ruined the best thing I had by not being honest about something that should have been disclosed from the start. I'll never know. And that's the hardest part. Not the breakup. Not the loss. But the uncertainty about whether I made the right choice. And the knowledge that I'll never get to try again. Never get to do it differently. Never get to see what would have happened if I'd just told the truth from day one. That's my lesson. The expensive, painful lesson. Be honest. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when you think it doesn't matter. Even when you're scared of the consequences. Because the consequences of dishonesty are always worse than the consequences of truth. I learned that. 4 years too late. But I learned it.